seats. Go live.
Let me get this crap out of my eye.
Put this back. Can I put that behind it? Good news is this. All right, everybody, welcome. Hope you can hear me. Looks like I have no volume on me. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Welcome to Trip Around the Table. I got Kevin the Carpenter. Kevin the Carpenter with us. He's a player in our Discord. He's there talking all the time. He's in chat almost every single day, hanging out with y'all. Not a YouTuber, just a regular old person joining the show. How you doing, man?
I am not a YouTuber. Good, and yourself?
Oh, you're muted. Oh, there you go. Say again. You are not a YouTuber. I'm doing good.
I'm good.
We got a chance to hang out a little bit.
Not a YouTuber.
In November, didn't we? Yeah. No, you're good. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now. You're good.
Here.
Yeah. Can you?
Cool.
That's right. That's right. So so we're gonna do it. So I'm just gonna kind of set the stage here for what happens for people who don't know what we're doing. It's basically me shooting dice. I'm going to start at the end of my table. I'm just going to shoot from the end, and just, while I'm shooting, we're going to talk about a subject, whatever that happens to be, until I 7 out, and then I'm going to move over here to the kind of the mixing bowl, do it again, and I'll do it again from stick right one. And then I'm going to go around the table. So we'll get like 6 questions in, basically, and for folks who want to play along with us, I've got a Crapsee table open up. If you open up Crapsee and go to the live table section, or I think it's the published table section, you'll find Trip Around the Table, and just jump into that and play along with us. I've set up a crapless table. It's a $10 minimum, I think. It's a $500 maximum, 10x odds. Just have some fun. If you have questions you want me to ask Kev, drop them in chat. Just put a Q in front of it if you would, and I'll check chats periodically and just inject questions as we go. But if there's nothing else to be said, I'm just going to go ahead and rip this thing out. So we're going to go here, and I'm just going to start playing. So let me get my screen set up over here. And usually, by the way, I have a drink at every station too. I have like a whiskey or something like that all the way around. But I'm not doing that tonight. I went to my doctor last week, and she said, don't like some of the numbers I'm seeing. Why don't you lay off the alcohol and the supplements and a couple other things in my diet for the next month? So I'm kind of living a cleansed month here. So it'll be just a little bit of tea tonight. A little bit of tea, and
good month.
She said have all the caffeine I want, which is cool. So yeah. Well, it should be, right? I mean, I guess, nothing wrong with clean living, right? I guess that's kind of the thing. Let me get this out of here.
No.
And let's do it. I'm going to come out. If you guys want to play along, make sure you hit the ready button, everybody who's playing. Well, it never hurts, right? It's like at 55 years old, I might as well start paying attention to my body a little bit, right? Maybe. So I'm going to set I have no idea how to, I don't know what to do from the end. Sure. I'm just going to set it. I'm going to set a 2V just because why not? I don't really know what else the hell I'm doing here from the end. So let's do that. We'll do that. And I'm going to hit the button here. I'm going to roll the dice. That'll give everybody, I think, 10 seconds to kind of get ready. So play along at Crapsee if you want to, guys. It's a crapless table. I never play crapless except for this night. So Kevin, you are what? What is your day job as I come out here?
The day job, I work at a summer camp as a carpenter and maintenance, but mainly carpentry. So I just started that last March. I've been there so pretty much a year now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a good gig. It's literally like right next to my house.
That's a 213 point
though. It worked out when I saw the job listing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's a good gig.
So so how long have you been doing carpentry for a living then? Has it been a long time thing or?
Yeah, so I've been in the
You've had
trade
it for a
since
long time, or is this your
2001.
because I know.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I started in 2001, basically, and
When you
I
say the
started as a
trade, the
roofer.
trades
I
or
was doing
carpentry
that
specifically?
trade.
Oh,
So I've been
okay.
doing carpentry since 2015, and I've been doing that since. But I've been in the trade since
Okay.
2001. So I got a roofing job during my off season when I was in college, and I did that during the summers and winters. And then after I graduated college, I went did it full time for what, a year and a half, and then I moved to Vegas. When out there, I didn't do any trade work. I was dealing poker. Um, and then when I moved back to Connecticut, that's when I got back into the trades again.
Mm-hmm.
Got back into roofing for a little while, and then I was like, I need to get out of this trade because it's rough on the body for sure. So I was like, I want to go get into carpentry, and I eventually found a carpentry job, and
Roofing
that I've been
sounds
doing that since. So
Yeah, roofing sounds a little dangerous, to be honest with you. I've seen. I'll tell you
yeah,
what. One of my favorite
it's pretty
shows of all
dangerous.
time. You'll laugh at me for
There's
this
been
because
some,
I'm such a nerd. Is yeah, right. No, I like Dirty Jobs. I love that show. He did a show as a roofer one time, and it was the funniest shit. I mean,
yeah,
that guy cracks me up. Mike Rowe cracks me up anyway.
yeah, that show's great.
But I watched that show, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know how these guys do it. Like seriously, like. Bro, it's so far
the mental
away
thing,
from down here.
man.
My God, it's a 6. It's a 516. All right, so you did, yeah. So you did roofing for. It's mental. I hear you there because otherwise you're gonna. And the buddy system, of course,
Yeah,
is a thing with roofing. Um,
yeah,
Let me ask you some question about carpentry because I don't know jack about it. My dad. This is so embarrassing. I should maybe become this clean, but my dad. My real dad, not the dad that just passed. My real dad was a jack of all
yep,
trades. He flipped houses. He basically built the house that he and my stepmother lived in. Basically built the whole place. They
nice.
gutted it and all that kind of stuff. He's so good with his hands, right? Taught me like how to do basic things. Like,
Yep.
I can do, the sink breaks. I can take care of the plumbing. I can fix this and that, but I can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? I can't do anything big. Like I can fix a little bit of stuff here and there. But
Yep.
what kind of work do you do? Are you like a finished carpenter? Do you build shit? Like what is it that you're doing? And here I come.
So right now at the camp I'm at, it's mainly a lot of like just general maintenance stuff. I would say like the
It's a 10.
overwhelming majority of what I'm doing is like
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of like repairs, a lot of rot repair because the buildings just to get rotted. So you got to replace trim, paint it, just things like that. Upkeep. If there's like a leak in a roof, I find it, figure it out, fix the leak. Things like that, like doing siding, fixing up stuff like that. So it's just a lot of general maintenance. But in my
Mm-hmm.
jobs in the past, the job I worked at before, we did like building, like framing, carpentry, like all aspects of it, um, like large scale. And then the job before that, it was like a little bit of both. Did some builds, did a lot of shop work. We did like a lot of like just odds and ends punch list stuff, like repairs. So basically, like in my carpentry journey, it's been a lot of like little of everything. So I've gotten pretty good at doing like most things. So I would say
Sure.
my specialty is like finished carpentry. I love doing that kind of work, like doing like interior trim stuff like that, like drywall, taping, and painting, and all that stuff. So that's kind of my jam.
Right. See, that's the stuff I would say of all the things, that's what I'm worst at. Honestly,
Yeah,
like the
it
first
takes
thing I'm
skill.
hiring out is a painter. And somebody to do trim work. Like
Yeah.
we've got a bunch of baseboards that are needing replacement because I have dogs, right? The dogs will lick on them and chew on them and shit like that. It's a 415, by the way. And
Yeah.
by the way, if you're new coming in
Yeah.
here, get on the Crapsee. We have only 3 people playing Crapsee. Get in and start playing. But I cannot like measure. I can't. And like when I paint, I make a mess of shit. I always call somebody because I'm just such a disaster. So my question really is this: so for a guy like me, who can fix a couple things, but really has to have everything else hired out. What am I looking for? Like, honestly, like there's probably people in the audience that,
Yep.
are like me, that just will always hire it out, right? What are we looking for to, like, what questions should we be asking? And not that you can speak to rates in different states, obviously, right? But like, what are the things that we're looking for that are red flags or questions we should be asking guys when they come to our houses and give estimates or that
Yep.
kind of thing? Is that a
Well,
four?
the main
That's a
thing you
hard
want to
four.
do
Yeah.
is definitely get multiple quotes, because that way you can compare and contrast. Because one major red flag right there is that if you get, like, say 3 quotes for like some job, like, hey, I want this room refinished, and you get 3 quotes, and one of those quotes is like rock bottom price versus like the other two, don't hire that guy. That's somebody who's like a rookie. They're trying to just get their feet wet. They're trying to just get the work. That Don't do it. 20, 29 out of 30 times it'll fail you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the other thing is, like, if someone comes in and they bid really high, a lot of times they're bidding high because they don't want the job. And they're just making it so if they do get the job, they get paid.
Seriously. Okay.
So those ones you weed out too. So yeah, you want to find guys that are in like the middle, the middle ground. You could tell, like,
Ooh,
you've
aces.
been around long enough. If you talk to
That's interesting,
somebody,
'cause
you
when I
can get a
was
sense of, like, is this guy legit? So
sure.
go ahead, John.
So the thing is, with pricing stuff. So here's an interesting thing. You and I have a big delay, but we're about a 15-second delay between our talking, so it's weird. But when I had my software company
Yeah.
way back, I remember one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from somebody was to overprice. He said to me, people equate value with price. And he said, don't undersell yourself. Like, to your point, don't be out there trying to get 100 customers. He said, having 100 customers that pay you $100 is going to be a pain in your ass. Get 5 people to pay you $500, right? And you can give them all the care, and they expect all the care, and your life's going to be 1,000 times easier. And I'll tell you what, I moved my first app that I ever wrote was $99. And after that conversation, I raised the price to $7.99 or $7.49, and I sold more of it actually, and my life was way better. I'm finally 7 out there. You find that construction ends up being the same way? Like, do people equate value with price, or like you're saying, big price might scare somebody away because the guy doesn't want to do the work?
There's a middle ground. Generally, yeah, you definitely want to set yourself up for success. You don't want to undervalue yourself. You want to make sure that you're throwing out a fair price, but also making sure that you get paid. And you got to know your worth. Like, if you're a good contractor, a good carpenter, good at what you do, make sure you're charging like a higher price. And the more work you do at that price, the work will come to you, and like the better work will come to you, and you'll start getting better clients, and then it just works out that way better. Generally, like, when people bid really high because they don't want the job, like, you'll know it's like astronomically larger than like a normal bid. You'd be like, holy crap.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised every once in a while someone bites on it, and it's like, wow. Yeah, that's so true for sure.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think good advice for anybody is that whole idea of equating making yourself valuable is important. I think that's cool. That was what was that? An 8 roller, a couple of horn numbers in there. So we're gonna move on. I'm over here in the corner now. I 7'd out finally. Couple of good rolls from the end though. The end is weird. You got to throw weird from the end. So you mentioned along the way here.
It's hard. I can't throw from the end.
You were a poker dealer in Vegas. I got to hear that story. How did you? It's tough. How did you get into dealing poker when you moved to Vegas? How did you come into that? Is there training, or you just decided I wanted to give it a shot?
So I just randomly just was like, I'm moving to Vegas because I'm bored at what I'm doing in life right now. I was young. I was fresh out of college. I'd gone to Vegas a couple times for vacation, and I was getting into poker a lot, like playing it at that time in my life. And so I was like, why not move to Vegas and be in that, like, at that time, the poker mecca? And I was like, I could always deal it. And then if I want to play too, like I could always play it. So I was like, I'll just be a poker dealer. Um, and so I went out there, went to dealing school, and then got into it. And it was funny because, like, tying in with craps, while I was doing this, I knew a guy out there, and he was a dice dealer, and he was dealing at the time at Luxor and Hard Rock. And he was like, dude, you should deal dice. That's where the money is. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do poker. He's like, do dice. I'm telling you. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do poker. And, in hindsight, it's like, man, I wish I took his advice and did deal dice. But I ended up going poker. Got a job at Imperial Palace as my first job, and I had to work graveyard shift. It was brutal. I couldn't handle it, man. Did that for like 2.5 years. I left there, and then I went to Treasure Island.
That's the link. That's the link now. Yeah.
That's the link now. Yeah, it was Imperial Palace at the time. Yep. And then I went to Treasure Island for the other.
Now, did you have to?
Time I lived out there.
Did you have to do the swing up in the ceiling thing at the or whatever that was? Was that Imperial? Where they didn't? No, they sang, right? Isn't that what the dealers did there? They sang or something like that. Put on a show.
Well, yeah. So basically, that's all Harrah's properties across the globe. So that's like their what do they call those things? Buzz sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So they want like their employees to like get all chip cheery and like do this like singing, hoorah, dancing, and it's to like they say it's to like get your vibe, like be positive, and get you in a good mood before you start work. But they also want to do it because they want the players to see it too and get the players all like yay, and to kind of create that positive environment. But man, when you come in and you're just like, oh, I don't want to be here right now, and you got to do this, it's like kill me now. But that's their model. That's how they do things. So that's not just at Imperial Palace.
So they actually so you guys do that stuff before you go on shift? Is that what you're saying? You do that before you go on shift?
Yeah. Yeah, like in front of everybody. You basically have
to
like
okay. I was thinking
come out in front of everybody.
I did
and like do this whole thing. Yeah.
No, I did not know that. That's awesome. I had no idea. I remember the Imperial Palace was just like you'd be playing your game, and all of a sudden they would stop everything, and everybody would get up off the dealers would all leave their stations and go dancing and singing and stuff. I remember that. I didn't know you did it as part of your process though. That's interesting. And all Harrah's properties do that, huh?
Like for all dealers, no matter what.
Wow.
Yeah, that's all. Unless they've changed their model, but back then that's how it was.
Seriously?
So, yeah, it was a fun job.
So what do you say? Like, what do you do? Like your own choice? Is like your own thing, or? Wow.
Yeah, it's whatever the floor supervisor wants.
Like, by the way.
So I floored when I worked there. That sucks. Well, they're come out, so.
Okay.
But so I was a floor 2 days a week on my shift there. And so I would just be like, I'd just get the guys and I would just get like some fist bumps going and just be like, how y'all doing tonight? Are you guys good? We're good to go. All right, good. I keep it short and sweet. Some dealers like would get real crazy with it. It's like, okay.
Right.
But that's not me.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I got hired
I didn't know
they
did that. I'm not sure
I got
I want to be a
hired
dealer
there,
anymore.
like,
I don't want to have to go out there and
just work for MGM properties. You'll be all right. They don't do that there.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if I'm getting a text from Jen. I somehow screwed Crapsee up. I can open a new table up. I can do that, I suppose. Yeah, I can do that. Let me do that. Let me just open a new table. Hold on.
Yeah, do your thing.
Hang on a second. Let me see if I can do it. If I leave this thing, let me just try it. Game link lost, whatever. Live table. So if I go to the live table, say open up a new live table. This is going to be trip.
Here, I'm going to answer Jen's question. Table. She's asking me how is the pay as a poker
craps.
Dealer. It was good to start.
Yeah, I was going to go
what
there
happened
too.
with me, Jen. Yeah, what happened with me was I started dealing in 2007, and I was, in that crash of 2008. So the money was great when I started. I was making like 200 plus a night in tips. But then when the recession hit, that shot way down.
Wow.
It depends on the room you work at, really. You can do pretty good. We always talked about it. It's a lazy man's way of making good money. Like it's a boring job unless you're a very like social person, but you can make decent money at it.
What time is it right now? It is
8:20,
5:30, right?
5:28
Which
for
is
you.
military time. That would be 1700, right? So I gotta go 1700
Yes.
though, right? 1700, and that's East Coast time. East Coast time, it's
17.
actually 2000. So I gotta go 20.
I'm
Okay,
8:29 here.
Yeah, if I go 20,
Yep.
that'll be right. Okay, let's create that. Yeah, so that's 20 o'clock. If I create the table now and go, let's see, the other one we can delete. This one, we're gonna play. Okay, so in chat, go to the live tab, and the table that I just created should be visible, I hope. Let's give them a minute to get in there. You guys should be able to see it. Let's see. You scrape out a living playing poker, dealing as poker. Yeah, that's interesting. So poker dealers. So you were talking about that, like, about the pay and the tips and all that kind of stuff, right? Between poker and craft. So poker dealers, are they part of the pool? Or are they on their own pool because they're a different thing?
Yeah. So in general, they are their own pool. And that's why I like dealing poker, because it's like you're legally working under the table, basically. If you do like your tip compliance, but all the money you make, well, like all the money that gets tipped to you in cash games, you keep. You don't split it with anyone. The only money you do split is tournament hand-ins. So like
really?
if you dealt like 3 times in a tournament,
Really? So
then they
so
take
you're
all the
so you're
total
not part
amount
of
of
the
money.
pool. Okay.
Nope. So the pit dealers are on their own. They split their tokes amongst themselves, and then the poker dealers, you keep your own money. So when I hand a poker dealer a dollar, that goes right in his pocket, his or her pocket. It doesn't get split up.
So they don't have a toke box. There's no toke box then. There's no toke box for poker dealers. That's where I was getting at, because craps dealers and roulette and all they all share the pit shares the take, right? But not the poker dealers. That's very interesting.
Correct.
Yeah, still coming out, by the way. I'm still working on my corner shot here.
So you carry your own toke box around.
Okay.
And all the money you make goes right in your own pocket. So.
Okay. Wow.
With the
exception, 1, 2, 3. Like said, that's your point. Your point
money.
is 3,
so like,
folks. That are still. Wait, I did the wrong time again.
Good luck with that, people.
They said I did the wrong time again. I can't have done the wrong time. I set it to start at 20, right? That is. Isn't that right? Am I stupid?
Yeah, because it's 8. Well, it depends on if you're starting at
somebody's
your
in here
time
playing
or my
with me.
time.
I know that. My time. My time 5:30. Oh shit! My time 5:30.
Sorry, guys.
Well, my time 5:30 is 1700, right? Yeah. Yeah,
that would be.
No, but even if I started it early,
1700.
If I right, my time 1700, but East Coast time is 20.
Started it early, right? It would launch. It would have already launched, yeah.
Right now. Right. Because East Coast time right now is 8 o'clock, right?
So that's
8:30 East Coast time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're Pacific time, Jen, but Crapsee works on East Coast time. Right? Crapsee needs you to set the timer at East Coast time, doesn't it? I didn't do 2200. I thought I did 20.
Don't know.
20. Hold on. Let me go back and do it again. Hang on a second. Somebody's in there with me. I'll delete the table. This is so funny. I'll do it again.
You know what, John?
Watch me.
John,
hold up,
because
this is going to be.
John, it's reading 23 local right now, so you need to set it to your time.
Yeah. To my time. Okay, I thought it was East Coast time. I thought it wanted to be East Coast time. I don't know why I thought that.
Do it to your time. Set it for 1700.
Okay. All right, I'll make it 1700. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was going to be forced on East Coast time. I thought that I ran this problem before. Okay, there's the layout, double, bonuses, disabled, rolling, manual, 10-second
Sorry,
timer,
everybody.
live play. Yes, publish
Just ask me
it.
some questions. I'll fill in dead time.
Paste it in. 15. Yeah, there you go.
I think that's the
1700. There you go. All right, I'll make it for 1700. If I create that table now, that should be good. All right, let me know now if you can go in there and refresh it and see. I swore that it was forcing me to be East Coast time last time I did this. Anyway, this is a great trip around the table. We're at Shooter 2. It's been like 45 minutes. Noobs. No, I feel like I set this up once before, and I got it wrong that time too, and I thought I had the wrong coast on it. So we should be good now. Y'all should be able to get in there and see it. I'm going to go ahead and open that table up, and let's see it. Hold on a second. All right. Hopefully it works. And when it does work, I'll set up my, you guys are cracking up. So start again. There's a new table in there.
Start the show.
I'll give you guys a minute or so to get in, and then I'll type in the roles that I already did. Start playing. Hey, if it wasn't mistake ridden, it wouldn't be live TV. So, all right. So while they're coming in, I see there we go, 5 people. Now we got a whole bunch of people coming in. Get your bets in. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put in the roles that I did to get all your bets right. Okay. So we'll just kind of just deal with me for a minute here while I do this. Hit the ready button, y'all. I have 2 of 5, 2 of 6 that are ready. And then I will type in what happened. And since you already know what happened, no cheating. Okay. No cheating. Here we go. I'm going to press the button. That'll give you a 10-second timer. I love the timer thing, by the way. This is pretty cool. Yeah. Here we go. All players are ready. Here we come. The first throw was one of these. It was a 6-1-7. No cheating. I know you all know what happened, but don't cheat. Don't hop the 12. Okay.
Behave, people. Behave.
Right? Behave. Everybody be good citizens, right? All right. So while
like
this is going on, let me ask you another
and go YOLO.
because I have to.
Sure.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't go YOLO. I was talking to somebody over chat today. He's like, why don't you're so good at going YOLO on your daily paycheck. Just go YOLO, go out there for real and go YOLO. And no, I'm not doing that. Like, A, I don't have that kind of money laying around, and B, like my heart couldn't take it. Here we go. I'm pressing the button again. You got to tell me.
I wouldn't do it.
So I know that in poker games, there's always the bad beat thing. What are some of the worst beats you've seen?
Yep. Taken or dealt? I got a lot for both. So as a dealer, I dealt 2 bad beats.
Because as a dealer, you would have seen more.
I dealt
Tell me
some of the
worst things you've seen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So 4 of a kind over 4 of a kind. I've dealt that twice. One of them, we had a jackpot for it, and players got paid on it. The other one, they got nothing. Let's see.
Really? Really? Because I was going to ask you that next question. Like, if somebody gets a bad beat, are they pissed, or are they like, hell yeah, I won $20K because it was a terrible beat? Like, how does that work with the players?
Yeah. If there's a jackpot, they're pumped. Because the loser gets the most money, so those guys are psyched.
They're pumped, right? They don't care about the bad beat because yeah.
Right. Yeah. All
right. So four of a kind over 4 of a kind. That's insane. As a player,
so
what's
here's
the worst
one
one
actually.
That's got to be burned in your memory, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys want one? Y'all can go to YouTube and look this up. So I became friends with this guy in Vegas. His name was Red. That was his nickname. But his name's Justin Phillips. If you go to YouTube and search World Series of Poker Royal Flush over 4 aces, he's the guy who got the Royal Flush. So when that happened that night, he called me. He's like, dude, you're never going to believe it. He's like, I freaking hit a Royal, and this guy had 4 aces. I was like, wow. And so then it aired on TV, and I was like, holy shit, man.
Whoa.
So he had king jack of diamonds, and on a river, the ace of diamonds came, and the guy had trip aces. So that river made the other guy 4 aces, made him a royal. It was crazy. Yeah, you can look it up
Jeez.
on YouTube.
That's
It's definitely
insane.
there. Yeah, so that's a doozy. Yep. But yeah,
You ever seen a fight
but dealing wise, I've never really
at a
dealt
poker
anything
table?
more than like 4 of a kind.
I bet you have to have seen fights, right?
Say that again.
Hmm.
Fights at the poker table. Yeah, pretty
So have
close
you ever
to
seen a
it. I
fight?
almost got into
Like
a
people
fight
actually
one night.
Yeah. Well, let's hear it.
Yeah. All right. So a couple
Let's hear the story.
times I had a guy dealing. He was playing on my table, and he was pretty drunk.
6-2.
And then this other guy sits down later on and just starts like bullying the table. And all of a sudden, these 2 players just start butting heads, and they're both pretty drunk. I'm like, oh boy. And all of a sudden, like they both just stand up, and I mean, they were like about ready to start throwing fisticuffs. And I called my floor, and he immediately came over and was like, "Get out of here!" I was like, "Whoo, wow, that was a close call." So another night I was dealing, and I had a player. He was being really unruly at the table, and like we gotta, you gotta kind of keep these players chill. Poker can be in a pretty emotional game, but you can't let people just get like swearing and cussing like crazy and just being
Mm-hmm.
belligerent. You gotta kind of tame that a little bit. I had this guy. He was just being like brutal, and every other word was an F bomb, and he was just, oh, fuck this, fuck that, blah, blah. And I kept warning him, like, sir, and I was dealing, I wasn't flooring, but I was like, sir, you gotta watch your language at the table. You gotta watch your language. Finally, like, it got to the point I had enough, and I was like, sir, you're gonna have to leave. And he looks at me and he was like, fuck you. You wanna go? And I'm like, whoa. And I immediately called security over.
Ooh.
And like luckily the guy was just like, whatever, and he got up and left, but he was ready to like start throwing punches at me. And I was like, oh my God. This is a fun job. But yeah, that was fun.
Wow.
Memories. Yeah. Yeah.
And how long did
Dealing
you
on the
was
strip
that
in
your job
Vegas.
for? A
Good
year, you
times.
said? Yeah.
I did it for 5 years, over 2 casinos. I lived out there for 6 years. I dealt for 5
years. Wow. That's an 8.
Yep.
Okay.
2.5
Did
of it
you
was
do
on
the
Graveyard
somebody's
on the
asking in
strip.
chat, did you live the
Drunken
Vegas
tourist.
lifestyle? Oof. Can't even imagine.
Depends on what you mean by that.
Now I got actually that's a good
I mean,
question.
yeah, I partied a lot.
Do you feel the graveyard? Mm-hmm. Do you
No, like the graveyard
do you
shift.
feel the
No,
graveyard?
I hate it with a
In other words,
passion. I will never,
because Vegas is a
never work that
24-hour
shift.
town. Yeah, like but it's 24-hour town, isn't it? Kind of the same, or is it no? Okay. You know what I want you to do, Kevin, really quick. Our
Yeah,
delay is getting worse. Like
it
as you're
is.
talking to me, it's like 30 seconds
Yeah.
between my question and you're able to hear me.
Okay.
Disconnect and reconnect, and let's see if that'll pick it up a little quicker. All right, do that for me.
Okay. Yep. All right. I got to open up Discord. My computer's kind of
Yeah.
slow, so
Same link will still
see
work
if
for
I
you.
can get that link again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm just going to keep on throwing here while you're doing that.
You know what,
But yeah, that might help us out.
John? You know what? I'm going to do it on my
It's
phone
a
because
good almost 30 seconds between us able to talk. Okay, that's cool.
Okay, let me do it on my phone. It'll probably be a lot better. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay. James says, too bad I took the town bet. So I turned them off just because when I make tables, I always turn them off because I try to mirror my local casino. And that's why I did that. But yeah, I'm not going to throw it anyway, although I did throw a 12 there. I'm going to keep on throwing. Let's see what happens, right, until he comes back. But yeah, ask questions. You guys have questions, put them in there. Let's hear them. Let's see. Kevin is back. Let's see if we have a better connection here. Let's see. Guest is in the guest room. Can I take you out of the guest room? Hold on one second here. Let's see how I do that. Let's do. Nope. How do I get you out of the green room?
Hello.
All right, let's see. There we go. Hey, how you doing? All right, let's get you over here.
There you go.
Let's see. This will be. You'll be tall. There you go.
There
All right,
it is.
That's better.
You good?
Let's see if the delay goes away now. So, we're all right. I think so. We'll see as we talk. We'll see. So we were talking about the fight at the table. Obviously,
Fights at the table.
5 years in Vegas. You've seen a lot. Now I was asking you about the graveyard shift, and you said you hated the graveyard shift. I was going to ask you about that. Like, is the graveyard shift even noticeable? Because it's 24-hour town, right? So everything's just going all the damn time. Is it even a thing? Or is it noticeable to you as a dealer? Like, oh shit, here it's 4 a.m. and it's bad. Is that a thing?
If you're on the strip, you notice it in the sense of like the drunkenness of the populace, because people are more kind of like mellowed out and normal during the day, but like as the night goes on, start getting wasted, and it definitely is like the night creatures come out, and it's interesting. And then the ladies of the night are everywhere walking around, so it could get pretty nuts. I just couldn't adjust to it, man. I'm a day person through and through, so trying to work that shift was like banging my head against a concrete wall. It was brutal. But it's interesting, like living out there, because bars never close, so you can go out whenever you want, and you can go grocery shopping at 2 a.m. if you want, and I did, because they're open 24 hours. So in that sense, yeah, you could live a normal life, whatever shift you decide to work. It's interesting out there, but not for me. I'm a day shift guy.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to. It's like no matter what time of day it is, it's that time of day. But you do notice the level of insanity with the overnight crowd for sure.
Yeah, you do. Yep. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, to that question, did I live?
I'm quietly having a great night here, by the way.
Nice. I would say yes. I did have the Vegas lifestyle.
Yeah, we're on the first shooter. I had my first shooter was like 10.
Yeah, I think it was 8 or something like that.
Yeah, the first one was 8. This one so far I'm on roll 9. That's not bad, right? Last week every throw was 3. I was talking to Gargoyle and it was like the worst shooting I've ever had. But where was it dive last week? Yeah, it was terrible. Here we go. So it came up. There's a 6-4-10. Somebody asked in chat about dealing craps instead of poker. Had you known back then, would you have chosen a different game other than poker, or was that just kind of what you were into at the time?
It was what I was into at the time, and I think it fit my life interests at the time. So I think in that regard, I'm glad I did it. And one other reason why I did it was because during that time there was this guy Scott Fishman. He was a professional poker player, and he I saw him on the World Series. Like he was always talking and stuff, and he talked about how he was a poker dealer at the Mirage when he was first getting his start. And all those hands that he saw while he was dealing really helped him in terms of building up his memory with the game and just learning, and he would practice, and he would deal the hands out and study and kind of guess the players' hands, and so I kind of took that on, and I did that when I dealt. I did a lot of just trying to hand read the players, and honestly it did really help my game a lot. I got a lot better a lot faster because of it.
Yeah.
Financially, though, it would have been way smarter.
That makes total sense, and that was where I was headed. What now? Is that just because of tips in general?
Yeah, I think in terms of a ceiling of how much money you could make as a dealer, it's a lot higher dealing dice. Like when Daddy Dave talks about that at CG, how he's dice dealing is where it's at. He's right. If you really want to make the big bucks dealing dice or dealing a game period, it should be dice, because you can get in eventually at like the bigger casinos and then start working your way up and get into the high limit rooms. That's where you'll make the money, like the
Hmm.
real money. You can't make that dealing poker. You're gonna hit a ceiling really short, and you gotta. The only way you're gonna make more money is if you move up in terms of like, become like a poker room manager or something like that. But as a straight dealer, your ceiling is pretty low in dealing poker. So
So along those lines, then I guess is the question. So dealing craps versus dealing poker, the energy vibe at the table. I'm so into this. I'm sorry, I'm such a nerd for this crap. Like what draws people to craps is the energy of this game, right? And as a dealer, you can engage in the energy, right? Dealers can talk, they can talk smack, they can play, right? But in other games, like roulette dealers are about the most boring people you'll ever meet. Blackjack dealers sometimes talk to you, but like the people who are dealing like Mississippi Stud and UTH, they're just like they don't even want to be there, right? And but poker feels like it's an exciting game, but the dealers are like not engaging very much because you're like you want to inject yourself into the game and mess the players up. Is that right?
it's very table dependent. You have to
Oh,
read
a
your
yo, it's a
audience.
yo.
So you got to kind of get into the game and know the players. Like in the stakes kind of dictate everything too. If you're dealing bigger stakes, you pretty much shut your mouth and deal. If you're dealing lower stakes and it's like a touristy kind of room, you could definitely
Right.
engage with the player, and the players want you to engage with them. So you have to feel it out. It's all feel. You can tell right away if the players are like quiet, you be quiet. If the players are like, yeah, party, like okay, have fun with them. So.
Did you do you enjoy the lower stakes party kind of player atmosphere, or did you rather deal with like the hardcore locals who are in there to just stiff each other every single night? Like what's it better as a dealer? What's the better feel for you?
Financially, you definitely want the party tables. Those if they're having fun time, hooting and hollering, and you're kind of having fun
Okay.
with them, you're guaranteed to get better tips in those situations. The locals are generally like they're either stiffs or they don't tip much, and you're just not gonna make a whole lot of money in those games, and it could get pretty crappy because those are the types of players they'll blame you for the losses. Like this dealer every time he deals me 7 deuce, and it's always your fault why they lose. I hate what drives me nuts.
Seems like it seems like the local guys who are playing each other all the time, they're just cutthroat, just trying to go out there and just kind of hurt each other a little bit, where the party people are just kind of out there to have a good time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like family poker for real versus I'm here to take so-and-so's paycheck for me, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So Jen is asking in chat, and I know the answer to this question, but you played poker too.
Yes.
Did you play poker for a living, or did you play poker just all the time? What level was that for you?
I think at the best that I got, I was playing it semi-professionally in the sense that I was supplementing my income with it for like about 2.5 years. Because like I said before, I started dealing like right when the recession started. And when I left Imperial Palace and I went to Treasure Island, I was working day shift there. And it was like day shift in general is usually the worst shift in terms of tips. And it was rough because like being in a recession, it wasn't getting as much tourism as years past. So the money wasn't that good. And I was only working short hours because I was what's called an extra board dealer. Whereas if they don't need you, then you get sent home first. So I was only putting in like 3 hour days making nothing. And honestly, if it wasn't for playing poker during that time, like I would have had to find a second job. So so I would say like semi-professionally I did.
Really?
I'm usually I would make most of my money at the World Series, so I just go there and just grind cash games and crush them, and then play like some tournaments on the side too. And I had a couple good tournament runs the last few years I lived out there, and then that money would just last me like the whole rest of the year. I would have a nice bankroll to keep playing with, and like I'd have like a slush fund
No
that I could
kidding.
keep tapping into when I didn't make enough money at work to pay my bills. So Yeah, it's an interesting way to make a living, but it worked. It worked for me at the time.
So talk through that a little bit because, and again, I hate to keep harping on the same thing, but I'm on the same spot on my table, so I got to keep talking about poker with you.
Yeah, gotta keep same question.
I am the family poker king. It's all good, right? That's how we do it. I'm family poker guy. Right? I've never played poker in a casino, not once, except for video poker. And I think because you probably know me by now, I don't have the personality to play poker. I don't think I got a poker face. I like to bullshit too much. I think I would drive people crazy, and I'm not sure I could hide it very well, right? So what tools? Like, talk about the tools of the poker player. Like what is? I come into your table, right, and I sit down, and you're licking your chops, right? And you're saying during the World Series. So during the World Series, there's the series, obviously, right? But then there's all these side games everywhere in town. Everybody like me comes to town and go, oh, I played no pick'em with the grandma for 85 cents, and I can go take somebody in Vegas for 1,000, right? And you're looking at me and saying, what?
Saying, oh yeah, I'm licking my chops. There's no doubt about that. As like somebody who's seasoned pro, yeah, you're like, all right, these are the games I want to be in. That's the player I want. It takes a lot, man. It took me quite a while.
So what is the key? What is the key?
The key to winning at poker is it's a lot of experience, man. Like, you just gotta play a lot of hands.
Well, to me,
to you, don't bluff a lot. You guys tend to be like, well, I'm gonna run an epic bluff,
right.
But there's an art to bluffing, and if you don't know that art, don't do it, because it's gonna blow up in your face. Just play very straightforward. Honestly, just play.
I'm gonna run an epic bluff. That's.
Don't do it. Just play straightforward. Just play your cards and play tight, aggressive.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Nah, just play your cards, man. Play what's called a tight, aggressive game, where you just play when you have something and then you fold when you don't. And when you do have a hand, play it aggressively. Don't be afraid to bet. And the thing that is one thing that you want to remember is that players are going to look at you and they're going to say, I can bluff this guy because he seems like a rookie. So you probably are going to get bluffed a lot, and that's okay. Don't feel like, you should be ashamed of it or something, or I should call down more because I'm getting bluffed a lot. Just keep playing your game and just stay the course, and, you'll do all right in those situations.
That's my biggest worry. That's why I don't play, because I know, like I said, I would just get too excited, and I would probably get bluffed all the damn time, right? But also, a little bit of like, there's an element of like, I don't want to overdo it either. Like, I don't want to overplay or over conservative this hand either, and spook everybody. I've watched people play. My brother plays poker a lot. I watch him play all the time. He's actually really good. And, after the game's over, we go and have a beer or whatever, and he's like, on this play I sensed that guy was doing this and whatever else. And he's like, I felt like if I was going to, and I'm like, you had it. That hand was clearly you were going to win that hand, right? Why didn't you go after the money? And he's like, I just didn't want to spook anybody, and I think that would probably be the mistake that a rookie probably makes a lot, is going too big. I would think, spooking the table. Oh, that was a big bounce. Be good to me. 9, 6. I'm crushing this hand, by the way. I'm telling you what, crushing this hand over here.
We're going to talk poker forever.
Let's roll 19 from the hook over here.
There you go.
I'm just saying, it's roll 19. I'm just destroying this right now. Looks good. Yeah, it looks good.
Nice.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. So what else can we talk about with regards to poker? What poker questions do you guys have in chat, by the way? Are there any poker questions that I'm not asking that I should be asking? Because again, my experience in poker is family. And I told this story, like remember I was telling you guys about my Uncle Jimmy that passed away just recently. My aunt, I talked to her a couple weeks back, and she said they actually buried him with a deck of cards. They buried him with the racing form, and a deck of cards and a pack of cigarettes because he loved poker so much. And they ran a family game. They ran a family five card draw, 5-card stud game forever. You know,
Nice.
And that every Sunday in the church they ran that thing. So my Uncle Jim but he never once played in the casino. Same as me, never once played in the casino. He bet the horses, but never played in there. So, yeah, I guess, like I said, from all of us family poker players that want to break into it, I guess maybe throw some tips. I think you said as a dealer, you're kind of like, you studied the hands and how things kind of played themselves out. What did you learn from that in terms of like, not so much the player attitude and bluffing and that kind of thing, but just about what you're seeing the cards do? Did you get anything that you can kind of like sort of lean into with that?
Yeah. So it's a lot of like,
That's
a lot of like
549, by the
compiling
way.
a lot of like stats. Like, you just start trying to read situations and read people's bets, like how much they're betting. And like, you just get this sense of like, on these types of boards, when a player raised pre-flop and he bets this much on the flop, generally he might have this range of hands, and like you just start to get a better sense. Because for me, like, the way poker is nowadays is it's very like mathematical. It's completely solved. So everybody's all about the math. They're all about,
Mm-hmm.
playing GTO or game theory optimal and all that stuff. The old school players like the Doyle Brunsons and like the early Daniel Negreanu's, those guys, they played all by feel, so everything was like by feel. Like you can just get a sense of a player based on how
Mm-hmm.
they've been playing, people's bet sizes. You just use your level of aggression and go from there, and you gauge how people react to it. So I would get a lot of that by dealing, and I would see like how these players play against each other, and then just get a good sense of of like the rhythm of a game, and just get a good read on players. So like I would then take that to my game, and when I'd go play, it just came right out of me, and I just felt like my game was so on top because of that. It was great, and yeah, but you have to know what to look for. Like you have to know the signs and all that stuff, in order to really like make that information work for you. So
Yeah. So with some of this like game theory math, so with some of the game theory math you're talking about, right? Obviously,
yep.
there's a whole theory of study on that, right? Where given these two whole cards and this, the first card you see and all that stuff, right? Here's the best or the optimal play. Your chances of winning are whatever percentage it's going to be. And based on, okay, when this player does that, that means that your hand's not worth as much. Is there math behind that works? Or is it, as a dealer, do you just see like, okay, every time somebody's got this in the hole, it never works? Or do you get like a rhythm to that goes beyond the math because you've seen it? Like James Balk is in the chat saying, feel is still the best way to play. Like there's an element of human, unless everybody's playing the pure math. Which maybe that is the game. Is that today's game? Is today's game pure math, or is there still people playing it? Like
It's
humans?
sort of. It's a lot more mathematical nowadays than it ever has been before, but there's still a level of feel that you got to play with. And even like the greats that like the new generation of greats will tell you that like you want to definitely take advantage of this like new wave of like mathematical play that has come to fruition, but you still got to have some feel. So like you got to know when there's times to deviate from the mathematical side of the game and still go back to like what now they call exploitive play, which is playing based on feel. So there's definitely a balance in it, but the thing is that the old generation didn't have access to all these new solvers and all the math, that they have now. So that's why, like, they literally have said that Hold'em has been solved because of the game theory optimal math stuff. So you still want to have a balance of the two. You don't want to be full GTO. Some players fall into that trap where they're like, if you just play 100% GTO, you're guaranteed to be a winning poker player over time. You might, but you're still going to run into situations where you're going to have to start playing with your gut, So.
So JR, look in the chat there. He has a comment I don't even understand. He says, nowadays, if you don't rob your share of pots, you're on a bleed out. What does he mean by that?
So basically, what he means is that
EV calc reads not enough. You gotta sometimes get somebody, right?
yeah, but and what he's trying to refer to is that like you got to remember in a casino how they get the quote unquote house edge in a poker game is the rake that they take for every pot, and the rake nowadays is higher than it's ever been before. So if you're not playing more aggressively than like you would have say 10 years ago, you're not going to compensate or overcompensate for that higher rake. So you got to be playing a lot more aggressively and scooping up all those small pots to make up for all that rake. Plus, you want to try to be more aggressive to win those bigger pots too. So yeah, that's what you got to be doing. Is you definitely got to be a lot more aggressive nowadays, especially in the lower stakes games, because those rakes they're nuts. They'll destroy you in no time. The only way you're ever going to beat it is if you move up in stakes and play like 5-10 no limit.
What is the rake in a low game?
So the most common one is
what is the rake in
$5
like a 1-2 game?
Yeah, it's generally like $5 for the house, and like usually most rooms have like a jackpot, so they'll take $1 for that. So we'll say $6 per hand. I get whacked hard where I'm at. One of my locals is $6. No, it's $5 for the house and $6 for the house and $2 for the jackpot. That's what it is. It's like an $8 rate. It's nuts. And then the other one, MGM Springfield, they are 6 and 2. Yeah, 6 for the house, 2 for the rake. So it's tough. You can't beat that rake in the long run, man. You got to play higher stakes. You got to play 5
now,
times higher rake.
Is that a percentage? Is that a percentage of the blind, or is that just the rake of the table? How does that work?
So most rooms they do 10% of the pot. And they cap it at $5, say. So once the pot hits $50, the house is taking the most money that they'll take. So even if the pot hits $1,000, they won't take any more. They only take 5 max, or 6 max, or wherever you're at.
Okay.
Now California, they have the worst rate.
Yeah, James is also saying something like this.
Yeah, I can't.
Really?
See his
what is it there?
Oh man, well, generally they take
He says, I think the hardest thing to understand is the position on the table in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, so the California rate, they take right up front. They'll take, so like if you play like 1-2 no limit, you put the blinds in, they take the blinds in right away and deal the cards. It's nuts. Like, or they take the small blind or something like that and drop it immediately.
Wow. No kidding.
Yeah. So if they take, let's say they take a $5 rake. Yeah. If they take a $5 max rake, as soon as it goes to the flop, they take max. Even if the pot is $10, they take their 5. And if someone wins just that pot right there, they get $5. So it's insane.
No kidding. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Well, California is California, I guess, right?
Yeah. Their gambling is weird.
Interesting. All right, let me get this next throw out here. Well, yeah, the card craps and everything else. I still understand that the reasoning behind that law still doesn't make any sense. We have a 4-3. Oh, that's a 7. Yeah. Shoot, that's going to end a hell of a roll right there.
And their poker toss.
Wow. What was that? A 24 roller?
Wow. That was nice.
Yeah. I'll take that from the hook over there. Yeah, that's pretty good from that far away. The thing is, not far away, I've got to throw them so hard. I always feel like they're just going to be destroyed anyway when they get there, but that was a okay roll. All right. So let's move on. I'm going to switch to this spot here now. Can y'all still see me? Kinda. I'm going to move my phone a little bit. Move that camera just a tad so you can see a little bit better. There we go. See that roulette table I got on my coffee show in the morning? This is the actual table for it right here. It's like a roulette table on wheels that I got back here. So it's like a little coffee table thing. Cool. All right. So we're going to ask you a tough question here, and then we'll get into some more fun stuff later on. But I had Gargoyle on the show a while back. And I actually had the guy from the NCPG, the National Council on Problem Gambling, on, talking about gambling addiction. Gargoyle talked about his battle with addiction, gambling. I know that you've got some thoughts on this, and I'd like to open the floor and have you share your thoughts, your story, and what have you.
Yep. So I am sorry. I'm trying to log into
Meanwhile, I'm
a.
going to come out.
Yep. So I am a recovering alcoholic. I quit drinking in 2016 in August 19th, 2016, sober date. Um, so I was partying a lot in college. When I went to Vegas, I was partying a lot, like drinking a lot every day, heavily at times. Um, what happened was I ended up getting a DUI in Las Vegas. Um, and then I moved home back to Connecticut in 2012. And then I ended up getting my second DUI in 2016. And Connecticut, states have different laws in terms of how they prosecute DUIs. Some count them forever, some count them after like only 7 years, some do 10. Well, Connecticut counts ones out of state up to 10 years. So they counted my one in Vegas. And so I was looking at doing 4 months of jail. And luckily, my lawyer managed to get a deal made, and I only had to do 1 month. But that still was enough to be like, I'm done drinking forever. I clearly have a problem. I need to stop now because it's going to ruin my life. I'm going to kill someone if I'm behind the wheel. Something bad's going to happen. So I gave up drinking, And it's funny because like I always talked about how like when people would die from like a drug overdose or something like that, I always would say, I don't understand why those people's friends keep using after that person dies. Wouldn't that be enough to like wake everybody up? Um, well, my
Yeah.
brother was a really bad alcoholic too, and he did a lot of heavy drugs and stuff. And he ended up getting into heroin, which is awful. And I tried talking sense into him, and it just did not sink into his head at all. And he ended up passing away in 2014 from a drug overdose. And I didn't take my own advice. You would have thought that would have been enough for me personally to be like, okay, I am done drinking and whatever. Like I never really did the drugs. It was just always drinking. And it didn't. And I kept drinking after that. 2 years after he died, And that's when I got my DUI. And that's when like 2016, once I got my DUI, I'm like, I have to stop. This is fine. It was like those 30 days in jail was like enough to be like, you have a problem. This is when you need to start taking things seriously. So been in recovery since, and it's been great. So I take my recovery and my sobriety very seriously. I do meetings every week, and I love it. I wouldn't trade in for the world. So
Really?
yep.
That's cool. That's very cool. I sevened out, by the way, while you were talking there, of course. But I got to follow up. I'm going to turn the camera around. I got to switch sides, but I want to keep talking about this because I'm not somebody who has had the struggle that you're talking about.
Yep.
But I know how real it can be. One of the things that I hate to say I enjoy, because it's a terrible thing to say, but there's a couple of TV shows that I really enjoy, where sobriety is at the center point of the show. One of them is Mom, and the other one we just finished watching Loudermilk actually. Both of which I don't want to say they celebrate alcoholism, but it's the focus of the show, right? And it's like the whole thing is like, folks are at varying degrees of being broken and through the system and everything else that they're going through, and it's just fascinating to me to watch those shows and like try and put myself in those positions, and I struggle, like you say, to imagine how real that really is for folks, right? And how close, when you watch those kind of shows, like, are they doing it justice, or is it just made for TV BS and whatever?
Well, I've never seen those shows in specific, so I can't answer to that. But generally, like, it seems like when they talk about sobriety in different shows, it's somewhat close. It depends on the context of the show, though, and but there are some that like, yeah, you're like, okay, this person's definitely like really showing like this is like what it is like reading reality. But honestly, like from my journey through this, it's recovery is like it's personal. Everybody has their own personal reason or reasons why they drink, do drugs, gamble, or sex addicts, or whatever they are, um, everybody has their own story, and I know mine, like they stem from just like stuff with my childhood. My parents got divorced early when I was like 9 years old. That had a lot of issues, it definitely weighed a lot on my psyche, that more than I ever thought, just things like that. Like I started drinking and doing drugs, like, I don't know, I was like 12, I think, when I took my first hit of pot, and like started drinking alcohol at like 14.
Hmm.
So it just, it's nothing I'm proud of, but it is what it is. And it just became my lifestyle. And I know for me personally, like I had social anxiety issues, and I'm pretty good with
It's
it
your
now.
story,
Like,
right?
yeah, it's my story. Um, so for me, the drinking helped me kind of break that barrier with my social anxiety issues that I had, like especially in like high school and stuff. So it was almost used as like a tool, like almost like a form of medication. And it was the same issue with my brother. My
Sure.
brother had like severe anxiety issues, and that's why he did drugs and drank, because it kind of helped suppress it. And he had like a brief moment of sobriety. He did get, go through rehab for a little while and get sober at one point. And he said the only thing that helped him was getting put on anxiety medication. And he said as soon as he got into meds, it was like his desire to drink just immediately went away. And he was like, I never thought this was possible. So it's just,
Hmm.
different things for different people, why they do what they do.
Sure. But like, so this is a hard question, I guess, but like if you are in that spot and you're turning to drinking or drugs or whatever it's going to be to kind of mask something or whatever that trigger is for you to do that, right? Now
Mm.
that you're sober and it's not part of your life anymore, right? What takes the place of that? Like how did you like I guess what's the big internal thing now that you're now turning towards? Say, okay, I don't need that to mask this thing. Is it that the thing is not a big deal anymore, or is it you found better ways or different ways to mask? You know what I'm saying? Did my question make sense?
Yes, it does.
Like what's
Therapy
taking the
was a
place
huge
of it, I
help.
guess, and how are you managing that is more the question. Yeah.
Yeah, therapy early on was a huge help to me. Recovery meetings and just being open to talking about it. Because I know for me, like my biggest issues were not going internal, in terms of like not going inside my own head and trying to ask myself those hard questions. Why do I feel this way? Why am I acting this way? Why am I
Mm.
stressed all the time? Why am I shitty at, doing this and that? And it just, I never took that time to do that and ask myself those hard questions. And once I got into therapy and we really started going deep into that stuff, start to see like that's why I act like that, or that's why I want to drink, or
Mm.
okay, oh, it makes sense. And it's hard, man. Like it's, I will say that like being in AA, you definitely see a lot of what they call dry drunks, who are guys who are basically just like white knuckling their way through sobriety. And they think that by just because they're not drinking, they've
Mm.
found success in life and they're doing good. But what they really need to be doing is going deeper, and you really got to get into that meat and potatoes of the things that make you tick and why you drink. And it's hard, man, because some people got like severe like traumas that they don't ever want to face. And I can't fault them for that,
Yeah.
but that's what you need to do. You got to do that work, man. And you have to ask yourself, how much do you want this? Do you want this new life? Do you not want to drink anymore or do drugs or whatever it is you do? You have to just go full commit, man. It's not easy. It's not been easy. I'll admit that. And I still have my faults. I still have
Yeah.
behavior patterns that I
Oh,
act on that stem from my past, that I'm like, okay, I need to manage this and I need to figure out why I'm acting like this right now. So you just got to be aware, man. Be present.
it's yeah. Well, it sounds. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of work, right? In the
Yes.
beginning, especially, and I think your story sounds like what I've heard before from people, which is you can't be led to it kicking and screaming. You got to bring yourself to it. And sometimes there's this wake up moment, right? For you, for those of us that may know somebody who you're like looking, going, I'm not liking the signs here. Like they're not there yet, but I can see where this is headed, kind of thing. As somebody who's been on the receiving end potentially of that conversation, what's that conversation? Is it one that we should be having at all, or like is that do you let the person come to it, or you know what I'm saying? Like at the risk of being, you know, too much in the outreach kind of thing, right? And making it worse.
No, it's fine. Man, it's difficult because if people told me I had a drinking problem, I'd be like, no, I don't. I don't have a drinking problem. What are you talking about? I got a job. I've never had any trouble. Like, I'm fine. Um, my family and I trying to get my brother to stop drinking and do drugs. No, it was always met with resistance. Um, and that's always going to be the case. You pretty much just have to just let them know that you're there for them. And if you're there, if they ever need you. But I think trying to pressure my brother into getting sober made it worse. And it made him want to just be like, fuck you, I'm going to just drink because, you know, whatever. And again, with me, like, so I used to smoke cigarettes.
Sure.
And when people would try to tell me to quit, I would be like, no, I'm not going to quit. And if anything, it made me want to light another one up. So I think trying to take that approach is not the right way. All you can just do is you could maybe one time express your feelings, but then just let them know you'll be there for them when they need, if and when they need you. And something or someone will come along in that person's life and will hopefully make them change. You know, sometimes unfortunately it doesn't. You know, my brother's situation, it didn't, and he paid the price for it. He's passed away. And it happens a lot. It's sad, but it's
terrible.
hard. People, when they're in the middle of an addiction, they don't want to hear it. You just have to let them come to it, you know?
Yeah, and that's got to be the hardest thing. I mean, I knock on wood. You know, I've been lucky to not have to have faced it, but
Yeah.
I know a lot of people do. You know what I mean? A lot of people have got people in their family that are treading the line, you know, and maybe even they're saying things like, you know, I probably should slow down, or I feel like I'm on the road, but I'm not there right now. You know, though that kind of self-talk to me is like a red flag, obviously, right? And it's like, that's why I'm asking, like, what is our role in kind of jumping into some of that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, you just offer your support and comfort and be there for them. But you also you gotta limit yourself too, because you don't want to be an enabler. You know, like a lot of times, like my brother, he would ask me for money, and I know that it was always going towards alcohol and drugs. Even though he'd be like, "I'm starving, I don't have any food. Can I get some money?" You know, and so on. And sad story, man. It was literally the last conversation I ever had with my brother before he passed away. He called me on the phone, and the last things we said to each other were heated words in an argument, because he was asking me for money, and I knew he was asking me for money for dope, and I'm like, no, not giving you money. And we got into a big argument, and I hung up the phone on him. And then he messaged me on Facebook and was like, "I'm really sorry. I've just been stressed." And I'm like, "It's fine." And 2 days later, he passed away, and I'm like, fuck my life. Great. I never got a chance to tell him I love him, or make amends. It was like awesome.
My God.
So it is what it is, you know?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, Kev. My God.
Tell your loved ones you love them every now and again.
Wow.
Fighting or not. That's all I got to say. Because you never know.
Every now and again, maybe every day. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, God, I was talking about this on one of the previous shows. Like when my uncle passed away, he made the decision. Like that was actually a question I've always got queued up here. Is like, if you were going to pass away, would you want to know? And would you want to know how? Right? Like he was in the hospital with a bunch of tubes put in him, and they were like, "We can do all this shit, and you can get another month." He's like, "Fuck that. Take them all out. Let me say goodbye." Which is a beautiful thing, right? He got to say goodbye, and they got to say goodbye to him. But you just never know, man. Like you said, you never know. I mean, and like we take it for granted. Like the whole "don't go to bed angry" thing. It's like the married couple's kind of running joke, you know. My wife will say to me, "I love you, asshole," and then go to bed, like kind of, right? Which is kind of a funny thing to say, but it's like at the same time,
Yeah. No, but it's as long as you know the love is there. Like my wife and I are good with that too. Like we got a very good relationship, and we find the time to say I love you, quite often, and that's a good thing, even if we're kind of ticked off at one another or something, it's, we get over it and say I love you. So it's all you can do, man. Make your amends quickly and
Sure.
let people know the love is there.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you have kids too?
I don't. So, well, we did. So my wife and I were fostering, and we did have a foster child for like 2.5 years. She just went back home
Oh,
to her
okay.
mom in October. It's been a tough one. We were hoping to adopt her. Like, so my wife and I got into this to adopt. Um, and so our first child we took in, the mom, right off the rip wasn't really getting her act together. And the case changed to adoption. So we were like, all right, great. Like, this is what we want, and everything was moving towards adoption. And then all of a sudden, like, the case changed back because the mom finally started getting her act together. So they changed it back to reunification. And we're just like, okay. It was
Hmm.
tough. Are we happy she went back
Yeah.
home? Like, yeah, I am. Like, she's with her siblings and with her mom. Like, that's great and all, but I mean, we had her from
Hmm.
7 months until three. She just turned 3 years old. So, like, we basically raised this child, and I was dada, and my wife was
Wow.
mom. Now she's gone, and it was like,
Sure. Sure.
okay then. But we're gonna do it again. We're planning on starting the process again.
Yeah. Formative years. Jeez.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna do it again. We're looking to take one in like this summer.
That's interesting. I didn't know. I didn't know you did that. I have a good friend of mine who I used to teach with, who's him and his wife are lifelong foster parents. That's another
Oh,
hardcore.
cool.
He's fostered 23 different kids, something like that.
Wow.
And he's like, he's like, it's kind of our job now. It's like, he's like, it's not really, but kind of. He's like, it's what we do. We can't have kids. We can't have kids. So this is our way of kind of having kids. And he's like, we know we're not going to keep any of them. So you love them as hard as you can for like the short time you got. He's like, some kids we have for a weekend, and sometimes it's it's years for some of them. And he's like, pretty interesting work. I mean, or not work, but an interesting lifestyle choice for sure. So,
Yeah. I mean,
quietly again, I'm on.
rough.
I don't want to say it's a heater, but it's a heater. Yeah.
The
Man,
hook
the
position.
money
great
shot
for
just
you.
went live. It looks like everybody's going to leave me now. We're on shooter 3 here. This shooter's on roll number 8. Not bad from where I am, right?
Wow.
Cool. Well, while we're here, let's end this topic. I'm going to keep moving around here. But any like final thoughts on this whole thing? Like advice for people who may think they're on the road. Where do they get help? What are the signs you felt through all of it? And how can the family and friends, besides just being there, like what can we all do?
Well, if you as an individual feel
10,
like you
6.
have any problem with any sort of addiction, there's always help out there. Believe me, there's 12-step programs for literally every addiction you could think of. That's a good start. Most all meetings are open,
Mm-hmm.
which means like anybody can go. So you can go there. You can talk to someone that you know and respect. Reach out to people. A lot of times, like for AA especially, you can go online and you can find like local meetings, and you can actually find like a phone list of people that you can call, and you just be like, I'm some random person, and I think I might have a problem, and this person will hear you out. You could do that too. You could talk to your friends and family, open up about it. And then as friends and family of somebody who might be an addict, all I can say is, if you know that they need help and they're unwilling to get it, there's honestly not a lot more. There's not a lot you can do. If it's to the point where their life is in danger, you can maybe try an intervention. Um, Other than that, all you can really do is be there to try to support them in their time of need. And if they ever ask for your help, as long as it's not like an enabling situation, just help them, try to just be there to listen to them. A lot of times people in the midst of an addiction, they just need someone to talk to. You know, they got something on their chest that they can't get off, and maybe they just need someone to
Yeah.
talk to. So be an ear for them. That's all.
Okay. Well, thanks for all that. Thanks for being so wide open about that, by the way. That's actually
Hey, no problem.
not the most comfortable subject to talk about, for sure.
No, it's all good though. That's
So
part of the recovery.
on the craps side of things, we're on a point of 12 on our craps table. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, points 12. I'm on roll 10 over here. We're doing all right still. I'm going to switch gears and we're going to go kind of politics really quick. Actually, no, I'll go there. I'll go there next shot. Right now, let me ask you one of my favorite questions, which is, and again, if you guys in chat want a specific question, throw it out there with a Q in front of it. Otherwise, I got my plan. This is if you were going to go to what's your favorite sport? Let me ask you that. What's your favorite sport? Or your favorite band?
Disc golf.
Sport's probably a better answer.
Disc golf, hands down.
Disc golf. Okay. How about your favorite spectator sport? Like you're gonna go to watch a game. What game? What are you going to watch?
Baseball, hands down for that, for sure.
Yeah, baseball. Okay, you're gonna go to a baseball game, right? You and me and one person, one famous person from any walk of life. Who are you bringing to that baseball game?
Wow, to a baseball game.
And why?
That's a funny one.
Yep.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. I love it. You got to tell me why. I have a good reason why, but why Bill Murray?
I don't know. It just came to my head because I remember when the Cubs won the World Series, he was right there in the stands going buck wild. I bet you that would have been a fun experience to be around him during that time. So that's why it just kind of popped in my head. I was like, maybe Bill Murray at a baseball game.
He's a huge baseball fan.
Yeah, he loves his Cubs, boy.
He's a huge baseball fan, Bill Murray. Are you oh my God, right? Are you a fan of his just in general, or just kind of just popped into your head there?
I think it just popped into my head. I mean, his movies are funny. I mean, I love Groundhog Day and all those movies, good stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But I
Which
guess
one's
in
Groundhog
general,
Day? Which one is that? The one? What's the one where he was he?
So Groundhog Day was the one where he kept waking up every day, and the day was exactly.
I've thrown 11-6 this year. Okay. I was thinking of the one where he was with God, one of my father-in-law's favorite Bill Murray movie. He was in, God, what was that? He was like a psychiatric patient.
Oh.
He was driving this family crazy. What movie was that? Somebody in chat has to know what movie that is. What about Bob? What about Bob?
Yeah. I was I was trying to remember that one. I'm like, I haven't seen it in so long. But
what about Bob? That movie is hysterical. My goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So why? So are you a baseball fan in general? Yeah.
I am. Yeah. I haven't watched baseball as of late because I just don't have cable anymore because I do the streaming thing for watching TV. So I don't watch much baseball anymore. But I'm a Red Sox fan and secondary Mets fan because my dad's a diehard Mets fan. So Mets are my favorite team. Red Sox are my personal favorite. I pay attention. I do the Bleacher Report watching baseball, basically, is what I do. I get the daily updates and read the news, and that's about it. I did when I was in Vegas, man. I loved sports out there. It was great because you could just go to a sports book and watch every game simultaneously. So definitely, I was a lot more into sports out there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, baseball's good. I like baseball.
Yeah, I say that a lot. I say it a lot because I'm my whole life literally is sports. Obviously I have a job and stuff, right? And I do this for fun. But my whole everything else is sports. Like my wife and I, we literally watch more sports than any couple I can think of. That's all we do. And
Nice.
Baseball has been the one. Hockey and baseball for the most part. But my son played baseball all his life from when he was 5. I coached him when he was 5. All the way through until he got to college and played. So we have seen probably 1,000 baseball games with him. It seems like anyway. But I love baseball. It's just what a great background noise kind of a game that is, right? And the strategicness of baseball. I don't know if there's any correlation between that and craps. It's just like basketball. There's some strategy to it, but it's a lot, and hockey too. But those sports are pure instinct, right?
It's pure,
Things happen so
pure
fast. You just have to read and react. Baseball is not like that.
Right.
Yeah, baseball is a little less like that. It's a little more. It's just a different kind of game.
Yep.
I haven't 7'd out yet. I shut it out loud. I'm still here. I'm still at the same hook or the same stick left one here. I'm crushing throws tonight. This is awesome. Having my best night of throwing ever. You get to witness it. You get to tell people awesome. You were there the night that John threw 10 3-4 shooters in a row.
Yeah,
right?
John broke the record. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, baseball's great because it's the chess match.
John, well, I'll tell you what. I need this for my qualifier.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm. Be good. Oh, it's aces. Look at that. Everybody's making money. Everybody. Oh, I didn't press the button. They can all cheat now. Aces, aces, aces. That's awesome. Yeah. So Fenway. You've been to Fenway, I'm sure, a bunch, right?
Just once. I've been out there. Yeah. I need to get out there more, but yeah, I've been once.
Really? Just once?
Yep. Just once. Yeah. I gotta get out more.
That is that's a bucket list for me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool stadium. One
thing I want to do with my son is do the whole. Yeah, I want to do the whole, see a game in every stadium thing before I pass on. That's one of my bucket lists for me and my son. We one thing we do like every year is he and I go somewhere every year. Like we have a trip that we go see a concert or a game or something. And so, we've got, 20 of those left, I guess, before I, ditch it. But yeah, that's the thing. I definitely got to see a game out. I want to go to Wrigley too. I've been to Wrigley, but never for a game. I got to go in the stadium and walk around, but never saw a game there.
I have a cool story about Wrigley.
I was in Chicago for a conference once, and I got to see it. It was pretty freaking cool.
Nice. Yeah, I have a friend in Vegas. And he told me that his dad had passed away, and his dad was born and raised in Chicago and was like a hardcore Cubs fan, like hardcore. Cubs was life to him. And he said in his will that when he dies, he wants his ashes spread on Wrigley Field. So what my buddy John did was he signed up for a Wrigley Field tour. Like, how you could sign up to do those like field walks. And so he did the field walk and he did the whole Shawshank Redemption thing where he poked a hole in his pocket and he sprinkled his dad's ashes like out of his pants pocket, like through his leg. And just did the old and sprinkled his dad's ashes on Wrigley Field like he asked. I was like, that's epic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool.
That's a great story. Oh my God. How cool is that?
Yeah, he said he was freaking
nervous because they would never allow that. There's no way they would let that happen.
No way they would allow it. So we had to do it very secretly.
Oh my goodness.
Nervous as hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, I'd like to get out there for sure.
Freaking awesome. That is so cool. Let's see here. We got us 5. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The baseball stadium tour would be cool, especially, now that they're, obviously they're rebuilding half of them now. So that'd be, nice to go see some. They'll never get rid of Wrigley. They'll never get rid of Fenway, but Camden Yards, I've never been to Camden Yards, and that's going to get replaced at some point. It's already like it was like the thing, and now it's already past its prime.
It was a cool stadium is the Diamondback Stadium. I went out there when I lived in Vegas. That was a nice one.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's I was just there. I was just down there in Phoenix, and my buddy took me out there
for spring training,
to see how that thing was put together. That's a pretty cool stadium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, spring training is
Been to
pretty
city.
special stuff. Yeah. We got. What's that?
Oh, I've been to a City Field I went with my dad to go see a Mets game out there. That was a nice one. Their ballpark's nice.
I've been to Shea. I've been to Shea Stadium, of course, when I was younger. Never been to. Oh, another. Is that at the point? Hit the point. Oh my God.
You hit
Oh
a
my
midnight?
God. Who has the pass line at max odds right now?
That's funny.
Insane.
Nice.
It was in freaking midnight. Hit the point of 12. Can you believe that? That's insane.
That's-
Wow.
Wow.
Go John. Go Johnny go. That's
Yeah.
what do they say? That's the Barry Manilow special right there. It's a true blue miracle.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Wow.
funny.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
That's just
I would be too.
so dumb.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Right? Who hits a point of 12? Nobody.
No one.
Old Bay says, I take offense that I'm just bitter about my Mariners. What are you talking about? What's he griping out? I'm not bitter about nothing. My Mariners just suck. No, I think what I was saying about Camden Yards is I've never been to Camden Yards, but I want to, and I feel like that stadium is going to get replaced at some point. I mean, it's old, right? Isn't that? It's got to be. When was that built? 1998 or 7? That's got to be
so.
getting on 30 years old now. That stadium because it was built before Safeco was. So
Yeah.
I would love to get out there and see it before it has a chance to get gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's a 9. That's a new point.
What other ones? Oh, I've been to the Padres and.
All right, let me
Rockies.
ask you this one here. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, I want to go to the Homer Dome. I want to go to the Homer Dome and see the Colorado Rockies Stadium. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
All right, the new point is 9. Looks like new point is 9. We're on roll 20 of this shooter. Can you
Wow.
believe that? All right, Kev, here we go. You ready to go politics with me a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. By the way, before I jump into politics, the genesis of this show, as you know, is that show called Hot Ones, right? The hot sauce drinking show. Have you seen that show?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, my friend showed me it years ago, and I was like, "This show's great. These people are awesome." Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Have you tried it? Have you tried doing the challenge?
No, I don't want to try that.
Going from 1 to 10?
Yeah, I'll pass.
We did that in Arizona. My buddy forced me and my wife to do it, and we survived it. We actually did it. Just a 5-1-6. We got it. We did it. It was hard. Like it was really hard to get through it, but we got it done. All right, here's your politics question. While I'm still shooting over here, I have a feeling these next two are going to be short throws. That's why I want to get this out of the way. I asked this the question of everybody, and I think it's a good one because it makes you think a little bit. So if you were President Kevin for one day, right, and all you got's a day to get something done, and I'll give you this this gift of saying that no matter what you want to get done, it'll get done. Right, like Congress will be behind you, whatever. I'd like to know what is your thing that you want to really attack and fix. What is your issue, and how would you get after it? Just wide open floor there. President Kevin.
I don't know if y'all are ready for this. You know what I would do? I would sit down and I would grab New Lies for Old by Anatoly Kalitsyn, and I would read the book to the entire nation and be like, time to wake up, people. The communists have invaded our country, and they're going to destroy this country from within, because that is exactly what is happening.
Oh my!
And people need to wake up and realize that. That's what I would do.
Wow.
I would read that book.
So it is story time. Story time with Coach Kevin. That's fantastic.
And then I would dig up the Yuri Bezmenov video. Who's
we got a delay again, so
yeah, we do.
I think you might.
Cool.
Oh, did we lock him up?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you go. Okay. It's weird that it's weird that delay is so long. It's weird. So you're gonna have story time with Kevin. You're gonna read the book, and what is it? What is the alarming thing then? So what is the thing about that you're seeing coming that maybe people that are just going around their everyday Thursday aren't seeing?
Yeah. So my big thing I'm into is
That's the point.
so there was this guy, Yuri Bezmenov, and he was a Soviet communist defector, and he defected to Canada and then came to the States in like the 80s. And he basically like laid out this plan of like, here's what the Soviets are doing. And he explained in thorough detail. They're like, they got this long range plan that they're just going to roll out. And this is what they're going to do. They're going to infiltrate your country. They're going to take over your government from within. And they're just going to destroy your country from within. And you're not going to know what's happening until it's too late. And this guy's not full of shit because he was backed up by that book I said. There's this other guy, Anatoly Golitsyn. He was also a Soviet defector, and he wrote this book called New Lies for Old, and it basically explains exactly the same things that this guy was saying. And at the end of the book, he said, I think what's going to happen is that the Soviet Union's going to fake their collapse to lull the West into believing that, like, communism's dead, no need to worry anymore, people, and then we can then operate from out in the open. And lo and behold, it happened. And then he did a follow-up book called The Perestroika Deception, where he talked about all that of like, look, I said this was going to happen and they did it. And here's why they're doing it. So that's my big thing. And once you start really going down this rabbit hole, you start seeing it for yourself and you're like, holy shit, these guys are telling the truth. Because when you look at all the things going on right now, all the chaos with all the riots and like Black Lives Matter and just like the left taking as far left as they can possibly go, which is then causing the right to go as far right as they can go. It's just leading to this chaos in this country. And it's like, wow, people wake up, you know? So that's what I would do.
Yeah. The ratcheting up of things has gotten a little bit nuts. Yeah. That's great. So, all right. So, I mean, here's I guess kind of a weird follow-up to all that, but, because I don't disagree that there's, there's something's going on, right? Where there's all of a sudden it's like crazy town, right? Yeah. Like went from like zero to hero in like a year and a half. I'm not sure what, and maybe it's been like boiling a frog in water up until then, right? But like something happened, whatever the trigger point was that happened. Then it's like, boom, we went to like from 0 to 100 in like a weekend. It seemed like. So what is President Kevin going to do? Right. You read the book. We all go, okay, maybe the eyes are open. How do we change hearts and minds to get back to, I don't want to say normal because normal is a state of whatever, but like, how do we get back to like simple or not the crazy? What is President Kevin doing there?
I think you're just telling people
here
about the plans. You just got to preach the message to love one another, stop fighting. I'm sick and tired of how, every time like a major tragedy happens in this country, it's like, okay, let's stop the fighting and love one another. And then everybody's kumbaya for 24 hours. And then the next day, everybody's forgotten about it and they're back fighting with each other. No, we need to make sure that this lasts forever. Stop fighting with each other. We can agree to disagree and be civil human beings, people, believe it or not. So that's what I would be doing, is trying to preach that message and slapping everybody in Congress and in the Senate upside the face.
Yeah, what happened to where it got all of a sudden okay to be not okay? Like, and I mean, and by not okay, I mean like assholes. Like all of a sudden it became okay to be, like it used to be, like when I was in high school, which is, I know it's going back a while, right? We're talking about the 80s. And I remember back then, like, really not liking the other side, like a lot not liking the other side, right? And the same can be said of them to me, right? But it was never like asshole, hatred. Like now, it's like you're a Nazi if you don't believe what I believe. And,
Yeah.
or you're, you know,
Oh,
you're a heretic kind of thing. It's a 437. Like it's super bad now, right? Like what happened? Like what? I don't get what happened, but how do you get out of that though? I guess is the thing. Like you can't legislate your way out of that, but what do you do?
no. And you can't undo it overnight either. I mean, this is like a social conditioning that you have to erase with like future generations. Like you have
Mhm.
to slowly weed it out, man. You can't just overnight be like, "Yo, stop it, change." Okay, we've changed. No, it's like you got to do what the communists have done, and you got to like re-educate the population and make it, come back the other way. But it's going to take 30, 40, 50 years.
Mhm.
That's the thing. I think everybody wants instant change, but it's not going to happen like that. It's going to
Which
happen
which
over
which
the
is
course
in,
of decades.
well, here's the thing. I don't get and I don't like is what you're saying there is you can't instantly change, right? And I think a lot of people
No.
have said that, right? And I've heard that a lot. Like you can't just flick your fingers and have it change overnight, but it did. Like it got really bad and fucked up overnight,
Yeah,
right?
big time.
Why can't we go back to normal overnight too and say, you know what? Like I was talking to somebody, and again, this goes back to I don't want to bring it back to gambling at all, but it goes back to like things that are clearly, factually, demonstrably wrong, right? That we're allowing people to have as their truth, right? And saying, yeah, it's okay. Like moon is made of cheese or earth is flat or pick your thing, right? Like it's demonstrably not true, but we're going to allow you to run around and say that it's true because we don't want to hurt your feelings. And all of a sudden that if you don't do that, you're the jerk, right?
Yeah.
I think we can come back to a little bit of that. Can't we come back to like, hey, some things just aren't actually true. And let's just go back to like nuclear family, it's okay to like be a family. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not okay to burn shit that ain't yours because you feel like it,
Right.
I mean,
you need a respect of property and you need a respect of family. That's it. Because that's what they're trying to do. They want to destroy the nuclear family. That's part of the whole Communist Manifesto, Destroy the nuclear family. Let the government raise your children. That's not how it's going to happen.
Well,
in my book, buddy.
What's funny is that is everywhere. Like that statement is everywhere. Like all these factions want to destroy the regular family. It's like, why? Why is that a bad thing? It's like we're promoting incompetence and we're promoting the retardation of the family. And like you say, we put ourselves in charge of making it better, and that ends up being the worst possible outcome. So it's a bummer, man. And I just 7'd out. I told you on the end of the table I was gonna throw like shit.
Yeah, those hooks, man. That's where you get when you do your toss, your qualifier. You got to do it from the hooks, man.
Yeah, the hook was great. Both hooks were over 20. The ends were not great, but
yeah.
Shoot, that was cool. I don't know if we solved any problems tonight, but we got a lot of information out of you. That was good. It was a good talk, man.
Yeah, thanks.
I appreciate you opening way up your story, your personal story. Got some funny poker stories. We know that we're gonna have story time with President Kev someday. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be awesome. Hey, Jacob from Reach Me This is here. We just came in time for us to end, but yeah, that was a great conversation tonight. We had some good long rolls to kind of get through some stuff too. So cool, man.
No, it was great. Felt great. Glad
Kevin, thank you for being here. Thanks for playing along, and it was fun.
Yeah. Hey, no problem.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt at all. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool. All right, brother. I will see you later. I know that there's a bunch of other guys. I think Ed and Gargo are throwing now. I think Brian's throwing now, so everybody can go watch them. But this was awesome. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you on Monday for the shows. And everybody else, have a great weekend. Bye, all.
See you guys.